Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming pattern for next week. It's going to be a very interesting pattern. It's going to look at the turn to be very active across parts of the western and even for the central United States as well. However, for the eastern United States, turning pretty warm for October as well. So we're going to get started for the watch warning advisory display of what will be going on over the next couple of days. Well, mostly quiet, except for parts of the southeast Tennessee Valley. Could be on the weather side of things. You do see a flash flood watch across parts of, at least for most of Alabama. It even stretches down across parts of the Florida Panhandle, even for a couple counties in southern Tennessee as well. And what we're going to see here, we're going to have an upper level low that's going to be sticking around, kind of go along the Mississippi River Valley. That's going to move back to the north here. That's going to bring us multiple rounds of showers and thunderstorms across these areas I've circled in red. And some of these places may have the potential to see some flooding issues as well. The better opportunity would be across parts of Alabama and Georgia with this setup here. But then that's just going to move a little bit further up to the north. That'll be lasting for a couple more days. Meanwhile, across parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Mississippi, Louisiana, we got dense fog advisories. Across parts of the high plains, we got red flag warnings. In Central California with some air quality alerts as well with some of the pollution and uh, wildfire smoke as well. Other than that, it's mostly quiet across most of the United States. And it's probably going to stay that way over the next several days here. It's next week is when things get a little bit active. Now, tropical weather-wise, Sam is getting ready to move off the map. That's going to continue to move to the northeast. It is still a hurricane with winds of 105 miles per hour. To make things more interesting enough, it actually intensified a little bit yesterday by 5-10 miles an hour. It's not really big time on intensification, but man, it's been around for a long time now. And it's also been a major hurricane for a week, which is pretty impressive. Meanwhile, we got Tropical Depression Victor. That's going to die out later today. Then we got a disturbance to watch to the north of the Bahamas. Curry has a low end 10% chance in the next 5 days, but we're not really expecting any development at this time here since the conditions will not be favorable for development at this time. But we'll watch the tropics as well. But overall, tropics, not much of anything to talk about. All right, let's talk about the upcoming pattern. We'll check out the GFS model here. Then again, you'll see rounds of showers and thunderstorms across these areas. Right here with this upper level low, that's finally going to move off to the north here. Uh, you can see here the multiple rounds of showers and thunderstorms across parts of Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and Kentucky. Then this is when things get a little bit interesting. We start to see some more low pressure systems move across parts of the plains. Here, some of them, most of them are generally around 1,000 millibars, not very strong lows or anything like that. But then you start to notice something across the western United States. You get to see a big trough, and then we mean a big trough moves in here. You got strong low in northeastern Utah. On the backside of this system, even some of the lower elevations may have a chance to see some snow for the first time. Um, this is a setup we haven't seen in a while. Um, with these big troughs that move across parts of the western United States, they definitely need this. So this is some really good news. But this is where things get very interesting. This has been uh, a trend with the models here over the last couple of days, and that's when we get to see a couple big troughs that move in across the western United States, and then what happens when it gets to the plains is very interesting. Now this is getting into Tuesday night of October 12th, and you do see here we got a big time low pressure system, 986 millibar low. That's a pretty strong low pressure system to come off the Rockies. That's something you don't see very often. But look at the backside. Widespread snow across Montana, Wyoming, parts of Utah, Colorado, and Idaho. Yeah, that's quite a bit of snow. Meanwhile, out ahead of it in the warm sector, maybe some severe weather potential as well. This is, again, a setup we haven't seen in a long time. And you see here how this low really starts to amplify here. If like another low tries to develop over up to the north, may talk about near blizzard conditions on the back side uh, of that low. So this is, again, something we haven't talked about in a long time. And then when it gets up to North Dakota, got a 982 millibar low with some snow on the back side here. Meanwhile, in the warm sector would be pretty strong winds coming out of the south. Maybe talk about winds of 40 to 50 miles per hour, gusts maybe up to 60 miles per hour. If you get some instability, you might be talking about some severe weather in the warm sector. Now we're starting to get far out. This may change. And then another trough tries to move in just behind that as well. And doesn't look to be as strong, but that could likely change here. But you do notice here, GFS does indicate a pretty active pattern here, and this is the big one to watch here. And a lot of things could change from now till then. This is about 9 to 10 days out, so a lot of things could change. And we'll have a better look here when we look to the 500 millibar wind. So as we move on to Tuesday here, you do notice here, look at this upper level low, pretty noticeable there. Upper level low over Arkansas and Mississippi, even to parts of Louisiana. You'll start to see that move off to the north over the next couple days. We'll kind of move out a little bit. And you do see here, we got a big trough that moves in across the west here. And then again, that's going to bring us some rain, cooler temperatures. This should probably die down with the wildfires that's going on out there. As we move on to Saturday here, here's a little bit of a broad trough out here, and then you start to see this is when the big one starts to come in right behind it here. And you get this decently low that will continue to move off to the northeast. That doesn't look to bring much of any severe weather. If you look into instability, there's like nothing out there, so it doesn't look like severe weather will be happening with this system here. And then as you move on to Sunday, this is where things get very interesting here. Here comes a big trough that's going to move in. That this could be pretty deep, a little bit farther to the south here. Here's Monday. You really start to see that trough that starts to amplify. Meanwhile, here's another low pressure system passing by Missouri and Iowa. And any severe weather potential with that seems pretty unlikely. With any severe weather, maybe earlier in the day. But then, this is where things get very interesting here. Pretty classic setup here. You got a nice big trough over the western United States. Lots of divergence here, so that's going to lead to some storms to build up there. If we check out your Louisville jet, which is at 850 millibars, you got a pretty good Louisville jet out there. You definitely see that Louisville jet up to 50 mile per hour winds. That'd be favorable for some severe weather. Meanwhile, just underneath that Louisville jet, you do have some instability. So this will be a favorable setup here. If there's not a cap there, which there's a chance that cap might be there, you may get some severe weather, which includes the threat of hail, damage to winds, and maybe even tornadoes. And this will be a kind of a classic setup here for some supercells as well. We are still, again, a little bit farther out, and again, some things can change. But, models have been a little bit consistent about this, and there's a strong agreement with this system as of right now. If we go back to 500 millibar winds, if you go to 6 o'clock Wednesday, which this could change, then you start to see a negative tilt trough, which will be favorable for some severe weather just out ahead of it. And you're talking about, talk about a decent jet right there. And then if you look into the Louisville jet, yeah, pretty strong Louisville jet out there. So this is definitely going to be a very interesting setup here. And there is some instability out there. So that again will probably be favorable for some severe weather as well. But then again, things can change. As we look into the European model, you do notice here a couple of systems kind of roll by there across parts of the Kansas, moves up to parts of the Midwest. Here comes your big low right here. 986 millbar low, so it's pretty strong. Meanwhile, on the backside, got quite a bit of snow. And you got this pretty nice cold front right here, maybe a dry line as well. A dry line would be where the humidity goes down, but it doesn't really change the temperature. Um, but with this setup here, it could lead to some severe weather out ahead of it, and then I'll continue to move off to the northeast as well. If we do check out the European model here, we'll kind of skip to Saturday here. You do see here, we already got a big trough that moves in later this weekend here. May bring some severe weather, but right now the chance of severe weather seems low on its setup here. However, it does show some instability further up to the north here, so there's some uncertainty here with this low here, but we'll watch for that over the next couple of days here. And moving on to Sunday here, here comes your big trough that moves into the northwest. Here's Monday. You can see how far south it digs, man. It digs pretty far to the south, down to the Mexico border. So you got a pretty impressive trough that moves in. I mean, and then you can see here, then it kind of moves off the Rockies here. Here's 5 o'clock Wednesday morning. Then you start to see a little bit of a negative tilt trough here. And then if we look into the Louisville Jet here, yeah, there's a pretty strong Louisville Jet there. That with winds up to 73 miles per hour. So that's a pretty strong low-level jet there. And if this verifies here, we could be talking about strong winds at the surface here. Now, the European model is typically a little bit overdone with strong winds, but with a low-pressure system this strong, I think I'll say it's definitely possible. You can see here it shows widespread wind gusts of 45 to 60 miles per hour. Meanwhile, for the GFS model, shows wind gusts really 45 to 50 miles per hour. But either way, there'll be some strong winds with this system here. Either way. Moving back to the European model, you can see here as it starts to deepen a little bit, those winds do get stronger at the surface here. And you also do notice here that Louisville Jet definitely gets pretty strong when it gets to the Midwest as well. If you move up to 500 millibars, yeah, you got a pretty impressive system out there as well. So this is definitely a system we really need to keep an eye on here. And we'll definitely have more updates here over the next couple of days here as well. If we check out the GFS Asamas, which is the average, the mean of 20 members, but you do see here that big trough that moves in, so you got pretty strong agreement already with that big trough moving in. This is now getting to the 12th of October, now the 13th, and you do see here, meanwhile across the eastern United States, while all this stuff is happening, you guys will be mostly staying on the warm side of things, and there may be some scattered showers, some activity, but generally, the biggest story for the eastern United States on the setup here, you guys will be staying warm because of this big ridge that's going to be out there. Meanwhile, across parts of the central United States, you could be talking about potential for some severe weather. Meanwhile, across parts of the west, you guys can see some pretty cold temperatures along with some rain and some snow in the higher elevations. So then again, it's looking to be very interesting. And then really after that, seems like that ridge may move back to the west here a little bit. So maybe that may get a chance for the eastern United States to cool down a little bit. But then again, that may change. And like I mentioned, mountain snow, this is the snowfall outlook for the next 10 days for out of the European model. Yeah, snow across most of the western United States, mainly in the higher elevations. You do see here, mostly in the higher elevations, could see anywhere from maybe from 3 to 6 inches of snow. And there'll be some other areas that may get more snow than others. Like European model showing the higher elevations of Colorado shows up to 16 inches of snow. Maybe a little bit overdone, but we'll see what happens there. The higher elevations of Utah could be ranging anywhere from 3 inches to 7. And then again, you'll have a couple hot spots here and there. You see the higher elevations in Oregon and Washington. You got some pretty good snowfall totals there. And you do get some snow across parts of Nevada and California as well. Very interesting. Now, the GFS ball is a little bit further up north, not as much snow for California or Nevada. However, there is more snow across parts of Montana. You definitely see there's a bullseye of 30 inches there, which then again that will likely change. Even show some snow across parts of Dakota as well. Then again, that will likely change as well. But either way, we could be talking about decent amount of snow across parts of the west, mainly in the higher elevations, and some cooler temperatures as well. Here's the 6 to 10 day outlook here from the Climate Prediction Center. Pretty high probability for above average temperatures, mostly across the central and eastern United States there. Meanwhile, across the western United States, staying on the cooler side of things. If you look to precipitation, something you don't see very often, there's a 70-80% chance of above normal precipitation across parts of Dakotas. But even in the 60 to 70% chance and the 50 to 60% chance, it's still a pretty high probability. So really anybody, at least a 50% chance here, will have a good chance to see some above average precipitation. However, across parts of Arizona, New Mexico, and parts of Texas, could see the chance of below normal precipitation. Meanwhile, across parts of the East Coast, may have a small chance to see some above normal precipitation there. But then again, that's a low chance. But either way, it seems like it may be closer to average over there. Then it's pretty much the same story going to 8 to 12 days out here. If you look at precipitation, it's a little bit different. Things start to dry out across parts of the Northeast. That's kind of the biggest difference there for the 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook. But either way, this is going to be a pretty active pattern across parts of the western and central United States. And we will likely have more updates on this setup here as well. But anyways, guys, this is all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button if you really like my channel. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. If you've got some questions about this, put in the comment section down below. I'll answer you guys questions. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.